monstrous AP carry that we all know he can be.
Vigar also running teleport instead of possibly ignite or another mobility spell, which I personally would have liked to see, or I would have picked myself because of Vigar's squishiness and his immobility.
Another thing is he also didn't take barrier for defensive spells, which means Vigar, who is a naturally very squishy champion, if Ari gets ahead, he will have no defensive position to end up trying to fight her, because buying a Abyssal Scepter is far less effective on someone like Vhagar than it is on Ari. But a lot of it will be interesting to see how this jungle matchup comes. Both of them are very, very potent at disrupting regular play patterns. Zac with his ganks coming in from numerous angles unexpectedly, and Ivern with his jungle pathing being able to divert the enemy and change up the regular pattern and basically make it so what is comfortable and routine is then broken and you have to think about what you're doing next, which can occasionally screw up junglers.
Oh, looking at that Dark Star bot lane, though, representing right there.
Absolutely.
And also the other bot lane going both the project skins there as well.
This, honestly, with the bot lane, I think will be a very interesting, very close matchup, and we're going to have to look a lot towards that one if we're going to want to see the Final Silencers bring back hope to their game. That's the lane they have the most potential to win naturally, and that's the one that, in my opinion, Ivern should be centering his play around. It is harder to gank, though, from the blue side.
I agree.
We are actually seeing a massive rush by the Final Silencers straight in a group of 5. Looks like they might actually be going for a pick with that Thresh if he grabbed his hook first. That is a very solid amount of CC that they can land. Plus, Vhagar can easily grab his wall as his first spell, locking them up for another 1.5 seconds for the rest of the team, specifically the Varus, to wail on them and build up that charged shot power.
We've got Invade going on here. Full 5-man Invade, actually, getting them good early wards in.
But it seems they were spotted and the enemies backed off before anything could be gotten by Final Silencers.
Yeah, in moments like those, Final Silencers has to recognize that there are 5 teammates down there, and they know that. So they could have someone like Gangplank go and put a ward on blue buff.
But they didn't, and that honestly will cost them a little jungle pressure, which is something that, when you have an Ivern in the game, is going to be very crucial to be aware of how the matchup is flowing as far as jungle routes. With those deep wards, that is an early small advantage that Final Silencers have that could end up becoming very significant when the game continues.
I agree. Ooh, Leona and Lucian both taking very close up stances. Looks like, oh, Thresh is going to walk right into it, get caught out right by it, but Lucian backs up, actually, leaving Leona getting poked down quite a bit, and him himself.
That was a very good counter trade by Final Silencers. As soon as the Thresh got stunned, Lucian burned a lot of his damage early because as a champion that continues and builds more into the late game, he did not have the level 1 damage power in order to continue a trade. He needs his E in order to make sure that he is able to actually continue these trades and reposition. Because of that, Varus was able to land some very consistent damage, and so was Thresh, hitting him with that flame-powered auto.
Yep. Oh, Lucian going to come in for some poke there. Oh, but he's going to get caught out by that hook, and he's going to be flayed back. Very close to hitting tower, though. This Varus is just being able to wail on them with his extended range over the Lucian.
Absolutely. As we mentioned last lane, with the Taric, the Lucian with a melee support does not have as much inherent natural ability from his support to contribute to this lane bullying experience. And while Leona has incredible engage, with Thresh's range and the ability he has to add on CC and damage without having to engage in the fight himself, he is actually able to pull these fights out. We are going to see
Zac is here as well. He's going to land right on top of the Varus. He's going to get ignited and go down. First blood Lucian.
That is what Crimson Elite needed to pull off in order to change how that lane is playing. with that very solid play by the Zach, able to come in from that completely unexpected angle. As we mentioned for Zax, he was able to completely change the bot lane matchup and make it so it is far more in his team's favor. And depending on the pushing, they might not even have to come back and worry about that as much until the enemy jungler shows up and tries to re-exert pressure for his team.
Precisely. Yeah. Looking at CS, though, that Varus, he was not off to a very good start with the CSing from the get-go. Missing a few crucial CS there, and now he's having to deal with the massive lane disadvantage that he's going to get from being killed there by the Lucian.
Absolutely. Lucian just cutting out these small chunks of advantages. Lucian is someone who very much can use his double proc and his wave push potential to hurt the CS of his opponents by doing massive damage to lots of the part of the wave, enabling him to get the enemy pushed under their turret, which hurts their CS potential. Even as an ADC, when early game turret is wailing on your CS, you lose some now and again, and Lucian is taking full advantage of that.
But yeah, overall the other lanes are doing very even, with no significant leads being made. However, Ahri has eked out a small lead of CS over the Veigar. And like I said there, like Veigar does have the ability to put up his thing, but it looks like Ivern going to come in here. Is he going to be able to land that? Yes, he is. Rooting the Ahri right there. He's in range. Both of them wailing on the Ahri. Ivern charmed, and there it goes to Ivern, or Veigar.
With that Veigar, that is an early game kill for him, and he's been down on CS by 10. He has earlier been having a lot of problems keeping up with Ahri's early clear and pressure that she puts on minion wave. And again, it keeps on coming back down to minion wave control with these games. With Lucian able to get the CS advantage and Ahri able to get the CS advantage, they were able to carve out their own CS leads. It's just when jungler intervention is added, it becomes far harder to estimate the impact of how these games are going to go.
Leona going to be taking a tower shot there, forced to flash. Very unfortunate there. Going maybe, looks like we got a DC though. All right, well.
We will see how long this will end up taking. If it is very brief, we will, try to be around for the next minute or two. And then if it ends up being a longer technical issue, we will be back for an intermission.
Yeah, but I think in the meantime, we'll just throw the stream down for a bit. We've had quite a few of these DC problems.
Absolutely.
It's expected to happen, like I said earlier, but for now, we will be going off. We'll come back right away, as soon as possible. Promise.
You're now listening to A-Rod Music.
And we are back. We have finished the technical difficulties, and the trade is continuing down. Looks like Leona falls, and a Gangplank ult ends up coming in. Will it be enough to secure any more kills for the red team? Looks like it's not going to be able to. Trade in the mid lane, and it seems that Veigar gets a little more of an advantage, even though he is still at a CS deficit.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that Leona getting killed right there, honestly. Kind of seems a bit unfair on my part, like what I'm thinking, because they just got back in the game and she gets thresh hooked and then teared apart by the Lucian.
Absolutely.
But it does not matter, it appears. Actually, Lucian coming in with a double kill right off of that.
This GP has been actually completely outlaned by this by this Vladimir. Despite how GP does have a lot of consistent damage, it seems that with his early Doran's Blade, he doesn't deal the amount of auto attack damages that AD carries do, which means he has not been able to sustain through the consistent supply of damage and sustain that Vladimir has early game. As the game progresses, I feel that if GP remains relevant, it will shift far more into his favor. But the early game was not fully considered by us, and the Vladimir, due to some very just calm and collected play, has been able to slowly whittle and carve advantages out for himself.
Yeah, there goes the Earthdrake, though, uncontested to the custom elite team, though. Definitely going to be very good for this bot lane, who continuously have been pushing in onto Final Silencer.
Lucian just keeps on taking aggro from this ranged assault that Varus has. When Varus lands a couple of autos, the next ability he hits in that short period of time will increase its effectiveness greatly. And Lucian is not respecting that, and Varus is able to get this bully potential on him. With Lucian at such a low mana value.
In comes Zac, gonna catch that. Actually, he's gonna catch a Thresh there. Is he gonna go down, though? He puts down his shield, tries to get something out of it. Gonna pull in Lucian. Leona's taking tower shots. That's 2 shots, 3 shots, and she's gonna go down right there. Gold going to come in. Lucian on the wrong side of the turret here. Going to throw down the culling, but it is not going to be enough to stop that Varus from getting him.
That is 2 kills for the Varus, and it looks like he'll be able to get the Zac too. Zac super low, ulted, and a triple kill for the Varus. Huge advantage changed, and Final Silencers take the gold lead this game, leading by almost 2K.
Yeah, this game playing out very differently. The finals. Oh my god.
What the heck just happened there? If we had replays, we would just go in and see that Veigar completely annihilated that Ahri in an instant with his ult pressure and the early advantages he's gotten against the Ahri due to that amazing Ivern gank early. He has been able to turn this losing matchup where he was down in CS into a matchup where he is barely losing in CS and now has 3 kills on the Ahri. 3 completely different kills, all of them continuing to add pressure and add damage potential to this hyper late game mage.
Yeah.
Veigar
Zac is very underleveled here. He's been ganking far too much for what he should be. He needs to be focusing on farming right now. That Veigar is level 8 and he is level 5.
Absolutely. Without the ult pressure that, Zac would have, he is missing out on so much presence in team fights. And that overall is hurting his team as he's not able to contribute. And right now, it's ineffective for him to come in and try to help when there is just this massive XP deficit on the part of him. He's not able to contribute to these bot lane fights when neither him nor the support have their ultimate abilities.
And it looks like both Lucian and Leona are going to be going down here, actually. Picking the wrong fight and going a little bit too far in when Ivern was just around the corner. Gangplank looks like he's going to be rotating mid. I think we have a lane swap going on here now. Looks like they're going to change the Gangplank to the Veigar, who apparently has been farming fine enough for himself, which we saw with that massive ult that took out a half of Ahri's health.
Yeah, one of the huge things about Veigar's ult is that when he casts it, it does extra damage based off how much health is already missing from his opponents. And since he got so much damage stacking early with keeping up in the CS at that point in time on the Ahri, he had been able to build up a solid amount of AP for himself just from his ability to CS with his Q. And that cost Ahri her life as the W came in smashing a third of her health. The Q took another quarter, and then the ult easily finished her off with its huge scaling, huge damage, and additional damage based off missing health.
Yeah. This lane swap seems to be going quite well, though. Both the mid lane and the top lane for the custom elite able to more so deal with these lanes. Gangplank definitely a better matchup against that Veigar. When Ahri did not run cleanse against him, that makes her very vulnerable if she doesn't have an item such as the headband.
Yeah. Without Quicksilver Sash, which removes debuffs from the character, she is far more vulnerable to things like that Veigar wall. One of the interesting effects about that Vhagar wall is even if you try to dash through it, it will stop you at the wall and ground you in that position, making it very easy for Vhagar to land his skill shots even if you try to escape through his